Board, y'all ready to get going?
Please, let's start.
All right, meeting has been called to order. Agenda item 1, public comments. Angela, so would you like to address today?
Yes, I would. I'm recording the session for folks who can't attend.
Thank you.
I have 3 questions, 2 of which fall under specific items, and one is general, may or may not fall under something specific. I'm not sure. So I'll start with the general. A few residents have been curious as to if we were under water restrictions, and of course we're not. And so I was personally curious what initiates the board to discuss whether or not the mud goes into water restrictions. Then regarding item 6B, the tax communications, I would like to know what the board's plan is to communicate in addition to the statutorily required ways of communicating, if there's any intent or interest in a more direct communication that's more accessible to all of the neighbors. And then regarding item 10, I would like to receive a copy of all of our private test results. I haven't been able to find them. That's it. Thank you.
If you will shoot us an email with the results request to you, just so that there's a record of you requesting.
Yep.
The water restrictions, we will talk about that under the operator's report, and tax communications.
Great, thanks.
Anything else under public comments? Okay. All right, agenda item 2, review and approve the minutes from the August 4th special board of directors meeting, August 21st regular board of board. Those minutes were submitted to you all this week. Hopefully you had a chance to look at them. We did not receive any questions or comments prior to today's meeting. If you have any, let us know. There are not. If we...
Motion. Second.
In favor? Agenda item 3, bookkeeper's report. Ina?
Yes, everybody should have a copy of their September report. Moving past the cover page is page 3. The spotlight of the month this month is focusing on long-term planning for the district, and it gives you a breakdown of how your operating income is broken down. So 42% of our revenues come from water and wastewater rates, and then 42% as well come from maintenance tax collections, and the remaining 11% comes from your City of Houston sales tax and your investments. And it gives you some information on how that can be used. Past that is page 4, your monthly financial summary for your operating fund. Pages 5 and 6 is your cash flow report for the month. We had receipts of about $179,000, and we have 26 checks up for your approval today. We did include an appraisal fee to Deal Sykes and Associates, and then we reissued the utility check that was not received on their end. So you'll see in each fund that the Cavallo check is reissued. Other than that, no unusual disbursements to note. Next page is your cash flow report for your operator's account. This is your accounts receivable for the month of July. Pages 7 through 10 is your updated actual versus budget comparison. The left 3 columns is reporting the month of August, and the right 3 is your fiscal year to date of 7 months with updated values. Pages 11 and 12 is your balance sheet as of August 31st. Following that, we begin your sewer treatment plant fund with your financial summary. 14 is your cash flow report. We're including 9 checks for your approval today. Again, the Cavallo check is reissued. Other than that, no unusual disbursements to note. 15 and 16 is your actual versus budget comparison for this fund. 17 is your monthly financial summary for your joint water plant fund. Page 18 is your cash flow report for the month. We have 10 checks from the joint water plant for approval today. The next 2 pages is your actual versus budget comparison. 21 and 22 is your investment profile and your account balance pages of today. We just discussed last month about CD investments, and so 2 CDs were opened on 8/25. It's shown there since our last meeting, and I'm just requested the September one, which isn't shown here because it takes about a week to process, but I did do the 3 CD investments as we discussed.
What's the rate?
The other one is right above 5%. I can't. Following that is page 23, your sales tax revenue history. We collected $12,961 for the month of June. 24 and 25 is your cash flow forecast. And then the remaining few pages is your quarterly investment report for the quarter ending July 31st, showing all your investment activity and interest earnings. That's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
So UNEF did point this out, but y'all did get that invoice from Jill Cycle. Water well. So that fee was included. One thing I just the water plant, all of those fees that deal with this
80/20?
yeah, 80/20.
Okay.
Whereas everything else water plant related,
It's a regular
is
67.
yeah, it's 60. We have done, it's just done like a separate number, so it is separate. Jason, I don't know if you guys have been doing that, but if you haven't, either you, on whatever your bill is, you need to mark water plant at 80/20, so it's. I just want to make sure.
Okay, sounds good.
Right.
On this CDs, is that the on page 1?
Correct. Yeah, the August 25th is the issue date. And then, yeah, those are the last two that have been opened.
That's the 3.76.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, at the bottom. The issue date 8/25/23 with 5% over here with Plain State Bank and then Origin Bank.
When one, the 8-month and 2-year, when are those expiring?
Oh, Rhett, that's just like the market. That's not
Excuse
what
me,
they
okay,
invest in the
okay,
district.
Oh, yes,
okay.
yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
What they invest in the district.
Yes.
Hopefully they wouldn't invest.
I was going to say,
in
that's
one
what I was
person.
getting ready to ask. Thank you.
Kate and Yaneth, question on my our work related to the second water well. Do we just invoiced the 345, but then is the bookkeeper breaking out the 20% invoicing?
Yeah.
So we're invoicing and then they just break it
Yes,
out.
it just needs to be clear in y'all's invoice.
So
for
that
the
way
second water well.
Oh yes.
That's
Okay.
the only.
The job number or project, his name is clear.
Yes.
Okay.
So they know to do 20
Yes.
instead of 33.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Any other questions for Yaneth on the bookkeeper's report?
Do we have a chart of our reserve over time, how it's building?
We do not have a chart of how it's changing. The cash flow report on page 24 and 25, it'll show your reserves that is computed with the current fiscal year's budget numbers that we have. And so that'll only change annually once we adopt a new budget. We don't have like a trending graph, no, but we can always add something at the bottom of this report if you'd like to see.
Yeah, not every month, but I'd like once a year. I'd love to see, look at it year on year,
Oh yeah,
how
we can
it's
do
done
that.
over
So
time.
like maybe like a 3-year comparison
Or
or
even go back a few more years than that, just to capture that with the end-year balance.
okay, we could do that at the when we're at the end of fiscal year. Is that
Any other questions? All right, if we get a motion to approve the bookkeeper's report, authorize payment of the invoices presented, and approve the quarterly investment inventory report, and authorize your investment. Favor?
Aye.
All right, agenda item 4, tax assessor.
All right, board, if you want to pull out my report, we have collections for the month of August. So the starting balance for the month of August was $99,092.82. Taxes collected was $756.70. Your other incomes at $314.78, bringing your total income to $1,071.52 minus last month's disbursements. leaving your cash balance for August at $97,182.90. This month I have $44,785.33 in disbursements, leaving your cash balance at $52,397.07. I've brought 6 checks for your review and approval today, and you have 1 wire transfer. You do have check 5164, that's a quarterly payment going to the appraisal district. Those 2 with the KR corrections going back to the taxpayers in your district. Following page is your historical. We've collected over $1,110,000 for the district. A little over $5,000 is still outstanding. And the report shows 99.46% collected, but when I left, you're at 99.49% collected. So a little bit of a bump. Final page is your calculation of cash, breakdown of your income and disbursements. Does anyone have any questions?
I hear no questions. If we get a motion to approve the report and authorize payment of invoices.
Motion.
Agenda item 5 is delinquent tax collection attorney's report. We do not have a quarterly report for you all. Next quarterly report should be presented at your October meeting. Agenda item 6 is the financial advisor's recommendation concerning the district's proposed 2023 tax rate. As y'all know, Masterson, the district financial advisor, Debbie Shelton, who handles all of this with respect to the district, another meeting, said she could come late, and I told her to just since standing a debt service, then there is no requirement to recommend something, because y'all know the maintenance tax rate is discretion. She still provides an analysis for the board to let you know about automated rollback and all that type of stuff. As y'all know, the law changed a couple years ago. Y'all are considered a developed district. You make that determination as of January 1, 2023 of each year. And since you are a developed district, you cannot increase the tax bill for your average homestead by more than 3.5%. It was before, it was 8%, but that law changed. So you should have, it's a 1-page in your stack. They don't? Okay. Yes. Peyton will go make copies. Sorry, everybody. You will see this in a second. But as y'all know, what your 2022 tax rate last year was 17.5. The 2022 assessed valuation for the district was $637,886,080. Your 2023 assessed valuation is $702,950,000. So it has been quite an increase from your 20. Because of that, the tax election tax rate that the district would adopt is 16.5 cents. It would go down a penny. Now the parity, which means what a average homestead taxpayer would pay that keeps it consistent with what they paid last year, is 15.9. As y'all remember, back in 2020 when the law changed with respect to this developed district, developing district, there is like an unused increment. So if you are a developed district and you didn't levy as much tax rate as you could, 3.5%, then that's considered an unused increment. The district could use it without triggering that automated rollback election. So you do have 5 cents of unused increment you could use. So parity is 15.95 cents. The automatic rollback election, which is the 3.5%, is 16.51 cents. But you have that unused increment years of 5 cents. So technically, without having an automatic election to roll that back, you have 21.
And how long will we have that?
Unless the law changes, it's like every 2 years it rolls. So whatever you had your unused for 2022 and 2023, y'all have historically continued taxes and big advocates of that. You know, every year, warn y'all about lowering it too much, only because once you lowered it, it's extremely difficult. Y'all have done a good job of creating a healthy reserve for the district, so that is less of a concern for you, because you know, during district rates, that they could get some, because they did not have maintenance tax leverage for them to be able to do it without having to sell bonds, which they didn't want to sell bonds. So just something for you all. So sorry, we don't have copies. Looks like you have one.
I had an extra one.
You do? Okay.
I gave it to them.
Okay,
Chair.
thanks.
I only had one, sorry.
That's okay. We'll have it. A miscommunication on mine and Peyton's part. So leaving it up to you guys to discuss, you can see what a penny provides to the tax rate. 6,780 is what the district would collect, and then a penny on the tax rate to the average home is 49. So if you got, it's of course up to you guys what you want to levy, but if you, instead of doing what the parity is 15.95, and if y'all go up to 16.5, that would average bill for that year. Each penny's a little less than.
So, go ahead. I mean, so it's kind of the decision is, do we drop it a penny? Do we drop it again? Knowing we've got 5 cents if we need to have. Also got a financial account, good money right now. And locked in on that for a time of CDs. Seems like wouldn't be a ton of risk.
To go into, are you saying go into the parity, or what do you recommend?
But basically,
That
it's
would
1
be-
cent would be.
1 cent would be the rollback election. You don't have to, but parity is 15 cents and 15.95 cents. I don't know how to actually say that. Almost 16 cents.
So 1.5, 1.6.
We're at 17.
Y'all are at 17 and a half right now.
Mhm.
So if you go to 16 and a half, you don't have to worry about using your unused increment. You don't have to worry about any sort of rollback election.
On the 6.
Drop to 15.9. What's it?
No, we would just add on to the unused for what y'all could do next year. So rolling 2 years. So there's no guarantee you'll have the 5 cents again next year. I don't know, I guess, what rolling 2 years. You would have some sort of unused you could use next year's, unless the law changes, which it shouldn't next year, but following year when session meets again, who knows what. So while you guys are kind of thinking about that,
Today's just the publication. You can shoot for a high number, and we can always come back next month, and you can bring it down if you've had some time. So you can always publish a high number. We can't go above that number, but we can go below that. Gives you some time to think.
so this is just it's a notice of your taxpayers know what you are intending to let earlier in the meeting. How do you let residents know? So there are 2 ways the law allows you to let residents know. You can mail to every taxpayer the district's levy to intent, or you can publish notification in a newspaper of general circulation, Chronicle, historically too. The law did change, and your notice of the tax on a website. So Wheeler will publish district on website. Copy of that would be.
So it could be in 3, like it has to be on
Has to be on
website
Wheeler's.
plus Houston Chronicle. Plus, have we done mailer in the past?
I mean, before the law changed, and I publish it. I'm sure. I don't know of any. But That doesn't mean you can't. Or decision.
And the assessed value's gone up 58 million.
And I did talk to Debbie about the reason for that, because y'all don't have much new development or anything. And she said she didn't really have a reason for it. What some financial advisors for developed districts have said, been selling their home, restart homestead, the homestead dollar amount. If you have a lot of home sales, we'll usually value. But as you can see, the average homestead change value is 9.1%, so just under.
So we'll publish, we'll vote on and publish after this meeting, but next meeting is when we lock it in?
Next meeting is when you actually levy. So right now, you're just giving your taxpayer notice of your intent to levy. And as Isabel said, whatever you publish notice of can levy a tax lower or go higher than what you. So we have some districts that say, okay, let's just do, instead of having a big discussion here, let's do the automatic rollback election rate, and then we can talk about it when we in the levy at the meeting where you act.
It'd be 1%. Rollback is 65, is that right?
Rollback is 16.5. That would be 1 cent tax reduction, which would still be an increase to the average.
And what would that increase be? Did you say it's a half a?
If it's half a cent, it'll be about 25. Because of the increased profit, even though you lower taxes.
16.5 cents, we're still one of the lowest.
And half. Dollar the lowest. I can't speak for every district out there. It is a very, very low, very low.
The 16, published at 16 and a half.
Then decide next.
Do we want to take it all the way out? That's in the, I think it's the pink box, 16514, or you want to stop at the 5?
Up to you guys. I would just 16. So
Yeah.
further,
Okay.
that's confusing.
I agree.
Up to you guys. Okay, so then your intent to levy would be 16.5 cents for your 2023 tax rate. You don't have to split it out between your debt service and. So then under sub item B, it's the means of providing such notice. So that notice will automatically be on the website, and then that you guys mail it. Do you want to publish notice in Houston Chronicle as you've done in the past, or
What's the cost of? Are
I have
they
no
both
idea.
like a few $100 each, probably?
The newspaper at the end with affidavits and all that jazz, it's about $900 in the Houston Chronicle. The mailer, we would have to see how many residents we're actually mailing to, then postage.
To give an example, when we did our letter out to everyone, of course, that was multiple pages. That was just under 1,400. That was for all the addresses.
Okay.
Not much different.
Not saying that's exactly what it'll be for this, but just kind of give you a
Yeah.
ballpark number.
I think you'd probably get a better result mailing it.
Reads the Chronicle. I mean, just no one takes a physical paper.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would recommend not putting it in mailing it.
Okay, would you like it to go through Inframark mail, or would,
I think
No.
we have to do it.
oh, you have to do it? Okay.
Thank you, though.
All right. Any further discussion on the proposed 2023 tax? All right, then the
No,
motion. Yes,
just one other Angela's question, is there, would it be inappropriate to mention that on Inframark's website, that you can go to the Wheeler website for,
We do have their
For
the Wheeler, the tax
I know-
information link in there.
I know the link is in there, but is there like a description of, for this information, go to, so that people know what they're going there for, because they may not know.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it again, but I think we have it listed. I think it's something like for tax information, tax
Okay.
rates, or something like that. It's a more of a general statement, but
If you could just, I can't remember what the exact wording is, but if you could double check that and make sure that it references for information on your tax rate and upcoming future tax proposals or whatever, something along those lines, so that when people go to the Inframark page, they understand that that's where they go to get current and any potential proposed tax.
gotcha. I'll pull it up here.
One other thing, we also need to make sure we have quorum for next month's meeting, because y'all have to be here, otherwise we'll mail it out again. So are the three of you guys, because I don't know about.
Let's see what day-
It's Monday, October 6th.
Double check.
If we lose quorum, you'll just have to mail it out. We try to avoid, so that the districts
I'll be
aren't.
here.
I'm supposed to get back from Europe today on business trip. Wait,
Okay.
They'll be sleeping by then.
All right, well, we'll publish notice for the 16th, and hopefully we can have, not, we'll have to again. Hopefully we should be okay.
All right, so I do have the wording that's currently in there. It says if you want to learn more about rates, exemptions, as well as meeting schedules, agendas, and minutes, kindly click here, and that goes to the website.
I think that's perfect.
Okay.
Y'all okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, any further discussion? Okay, the motion would be to authorize the notice of intent to levy the 2020 tax rate in the amount of 16.5%, and authorize your tax collector.
Second.
On favor? All right, agenda item 7, engineer's report.
I'm sorry, Kate, just before you get off that point.
Yeah, no problem.
The letter that we're gonna send out, is there a standard boilerplate verbiage that have to go in a certain format?
Yeah.
Or do we have flexibility with that, or how does?
I don't know about flexibility. This.
Well,
I was
do
fixing
we-
to text them to give them a heads
Can
up.
we-
How do we go with this?
Back to your point earlier, do we have the opportunity to talk about the tax rate trend?
I think you have an opportunity to do another mailer. I don't know if you can do it
Can't
with
do it in that
your.
one?
I don't
Okay.
think you can actually change the wording of your notice. That's law.
Okay.
But I think you could do some sort of little cover letter to go with it.
Or just put another note in it.
Or just do another note in it. I don't
Supplement,
know. I would
yeah,
have to look into that.
supplement,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've
we-
never had somebody normally push their all set. So you
I
want to
think
see
it
if we
would
can do some
be,
sort
I
of
think it'd be a good
insert?
opportunity to educate.
Yeah.
So you want to do that with your intent? You want to do that after you actually levy? We do have, because your intent to levy doesn't necessarily.
do it
We
after.
have districts that when they actually levy, they send a letter, basically patting themselves on the back and letting residents do a good job of over the years. Y'all could do that, and then that way there's
do
no
that. Let's do
concern
that.
about
Let's do that.
the
But we
Well,
know
what-
the
what
actual
the
rate.
intent is. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I don't
once
want y'all
it's
to
filed,
say it's
yeah.
gonna be. I mean, mind
Yeah.
you, you can't go higher than what you
Right.
Yeah.
give that notice for.
I think that would be helpful for people to kind of.
That would be helpful in regards to that charge.
Yeah.
Also, that, it's 22%. 22 cents, then 18, 17.
Okay, we will prepare and we'll agenda so y'all to be
Next time.
sent next month. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Any further discussion? Okay, agenda item 7, engineer's report.
Good afternoon, board. If you follow along with my one-page engineering report, item 7A, new projects, none to report on that. Item 7B, the existing projects we have are the generators at the 2 lift stations and wastewater treatment plant. No pay estimate to present this month, and we're still tracking that the generator delivery at the 2 lift stations is the end of January, and the one at the joint wastewater treatment plant is end of February. Item C and D, item C, site and/or easement conveyances, none to report on that, as well as none to report on consents to encroachments. Item 7E, the hike and bike repairs to the sidewalk. I got an email from the district engineer from Bowman for Harris County 346 that they were forwarded some interlocal agreement information that they need to fill out, working with the precinct on that. So it looks like it's back at the agreement level, and so hopefully I did get an email from Harris County precinct that they will keep us in the loop on when the plan to do the repairs, and just keep us in the loop, keeping that in.
And I know the parks director's no.
I don't know who who took David's place, but there's on those emails that I forwarded, Rhett, and there's a lot of people.
Yeah, there are
that's
a
on
lot.
there.
That's why I was wondering who
It's
the
like,
new
okay.
woman man in charge is.
Yes, yes. Fatima Barrios, the one that I got from, she's more of just maybe kind of administration. She's not specifically on the parks. I can understand. Anyway, I'm staying in tune with it, but.
All right, no action with respect to Jason's report. Do y'all have any questions? Okay. All right, thank you. Agenda item 8, the status of the acquisition of property owned by Second Baptist Church for the second water well. There is no need for us to go into closed session about this today. I'll offer last meeting to send an updated offer to Second, subject to getting approval from 346. 346 meets on the same day that you guys do. So when I emailed their attorney the next day, she said, great, we'll do this at our September meeting. So we should know today, tomorrow. I don't know what time 346 meets, but hopefully we will have a from them to move forward with that offer as well. And I assume they're only of the cost because that. So no action and no need to go into closed session. Just kind of wanted to give you all an. Hopefully we will have good news soon. Any questions? Agenda item 9, operators report.
All right, so if you grab the report here, I got 2 copies for the board. One has the yellow stripe confidentiality, then your standard report. So I figure we'll go through if the board's okay with it, go through the report and then cover drought items, and then go on to 10 in regards to the art. All right, so turn past the cover page here, just previous action items, just some updates here in regards to the ATS for the surge protection and the CNC well services. So I did get updates on both. For the ATS delivery, the manufacturer is now giving us a date of November 10th, which we are seeing with a lot of components similar to these long lead times. But so that's the target date, and I'll keep you updated as I learn more. The well services, their equipment should be coming in here in October, and once they have it, they'll be able to install. So there's no delay in that once the equipment's in. Now, for current action items, I have the only action item here is going to be I've actually got 3 different leak adjustments that came through requests from residents within the district. So that's why I have the secondary report here with the yellow stripe. Since it is residential information, we like to keep it confidential. But if you flip through there, there are 3 different ones. So we do have the resident's name, the months in question, the how many gallons that they used each of these months. Sorry, it's kind of tiny. And then I tried to do a color-coded format here so you can see the builder questioning the adjusted amount if we brought it down to tier 1, And then lastly, what the total adjustment would be from their bill to the adjusted version of the bill. Hopefully that makes sense. I'll do a run through of here. And so the first one here, they actually are requesting for 3 months. And so that's going to be June, July, and August, 24,000, 43,000, and 45,000 accordingly. And so it's in regard, their request is because they had a leak in their sprinkler system. And so we have our standard rate structure highlighted in blue, and then June, everything June related is in orange, July related is in yellow, and then the light blue for August. The bills in question, $37, 107, 115. The adjustments would bring those down to 31, 60, and 63 accordingly. And then in the right side, you can see what the total adjustment would be for each month. June be $6, July $47.50, August $52.
When you say total adjustment, you mean that's the credit?
Correct. Correct. Yeah, so that would be what their line item for, if you look at June, their line item for the water is $37.50. The adjusted bill would be $31, making a difference of. So for that month, they would get a $6 credit, assuming the board, wants to do for all three, or 2 of the 3, 1 of the 3. Like I said, we got this request in probably, I think, like 2.5 weeks ago now that I got it in. So,
Do you think the leaks are?
Possibly, with it being as dry and as hot as it is, it's kind of a twofold thing. When it gets real hot like this, everything dries up, it starts to shift, and it does cause issues with pipes and leaks and breakage. And then when it starts raining again and all the ground gets movable again, it'll start shifting again and then cause more potential. But in the heat, it is very common, even for our big main lines that are significantly deeper than sprinkler systems.
Robert, do you have what they used last year during these months, so that you have an idea?
Not with me, but I can definitely, I have that information. I'll just have to pull it up. So, I mean,
that's important. Anytime I think we look at this, I think it's important to look like historically, if we can look at they did previous.
I mean, it is something I look at, and I know all these are significantly higher. I apologize, I don't have what their numbers are for those months in question. But I can definitely, if y'all want to hold on to this, I can bring it back again for all 3s.
If y'all want to, you of course can. If what they are requesting historically is more in line with what they've done the last couple months, otherwise move forward with the so he doesn't have to present wait a month. And if it's not in line, then you can have him wait a month and totally up to you guys. But if y'all don't, if your only question is, you've historically done is all 3 of these have to make sure there was actually a leak.
These 3 separate leaks, or was this just after 3 months they had it looked at?
Yeah, it's after 3 months. I believe this one, they did it at the end of August.
Yeah. So that's a problem that I kind of question. They were getting these bills.
Yes, I mean, looking at the numbers, it looks like it started at the end of the June cycle, which brought it up.
Yeah.
And then you can see it in full force since it's 2,000 difference between July and August. Of course, I've had boards in the past where it's like, hey, it's been up for 3 months, and you did something at the end of the 3rd month. We'll adjust the 3rd one. That's it. Board's decisions for those sort of items.
What was the date? Sorry, I can't read. What was the date of the invoice?
August 28th.
But the date, I'm sorry, the date that they got the spring.
Yes, sir.
You okay if you in line, let him look at it? Now water is in line with adjustments.
Or maybe adjust it to the historic.
Or adjust it to the historic.
Because
Whichever one is higher or something.
Because what I've done here is just basically you have your base fee amount, and then all the usage is under your base rate, which is $1.50 per thousand, instead of going through the tiered system, getting higher as you use more. And so that's how I've calculated this, just based on everything except the base, which is 0 to 10. Everything else is in that tier.
And what y'all have historically done is lowered it back.
Yeah.
Not going back to their historical standards, but just
So if we
going to
say,
their one.
if we're gonna look at historical, you have to give Robert some, like, plus or minus. Then go ahead and go forward with it, otherwise, back forward with.
Like, so you mean if it's like more than 10% of their normal historical usage?
Right. Plus or minus, say, I'm just throwing out a number, I don't know if this is what you wanna do, but if
Right.
it's plus or minus historical average, if it's plus or minus 10%, last June to this June, or last July to this July, then let's go forward with the recommend. But if it's significantly different, then bring it back next month.
Mean that backwards.
Yeah, so you mean if they're
If
normal,
it's significantly different, they obviously had a leak, so adjust it. And if it's within just 20% of what they used last June, previous June, then bring it back.
yeah, because if it's like if their normal usage, let's say, is 8,000, and then these are showing 43,000, where it's like, all right, something went wrong, that's abnormal. So if it's
Yes,
abnormal,
I would say
adjust it.
that.
If it's close to normal usage, then bring it back to look at again.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is if the usage this July is
Let's just have them look at it and bring it back next month.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it's getting complicated.
yeah.
I was
Okay.
trying to make it easier, so y'all didn't have
well,
to do this
because
again, but
we'll
no,
have to give him some
Right.
we'll have to give him some
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd
parameters
like
to
to
say
see what,
yeah.
I still would like to see what.
all right, so for all of these, get back next.
Not a lot of money, you're setting precedents there when you
Well, that's-
start
that's-
paying for people. to think, well,
That's the issue there. And then there's a time period here too. 3 months, I'm sorry, but I mean, I have a problem with see something, first month and then, okay, maybe second, but it goes on a third month. I think that's the district's problem, that you waited 3 months to get something fixed.
And is all the repairs within their system that they own, or is
Correct.
it within your?
No, this is beyond the meter, so
Yeah.
that's
This is
not
theirs.
district
This
property.
is just
This is
their.
theirs.
yeah, if it was district property, the district, like
Yeah.
it was on the district side of the meter, the district.
Right.
And we would not want a resident.
No. You don't want any issues that could come back into the system.
Yeah.
Have we done that? Have we paid for
Leak
a
adjustments?
sprinkler system in the past?
I don't know if you've done it, that would be something, operator, I don't know if it's really been brought up, y'all get a copy of that, the repair was made, so you have the invoice to make sure, I don't know if a distinction's been made, whether it's a sprinkler, but that should be.
So if
to
basically,
look into.
like any residential, like you have your district line to the meter. So the meter itself and the district line is district responsibility. From that meter, where that meter ends, and the connection point on to the house. So whatever's going to their house, their sprinkler system, everything like that, it's going to be homeowner responsibility. So we do not touch that unless we're changing out the meter and we break their line, and then we're going to fix it because that's our fault. But as far as like, they have a pool or a house line, a sprinkler system, someone, they pull into the driveway and hit a sprinkler head and start spraying, it's like, that's their fault. And like I said, it's beyond the meter, so it's not the district at that point. So these repairs and everything for these adjustments were on their property, their lines. So they're just asking for an adjustment of their high bill.
What's the precedent? What have we done in the past?
Well, pretty much all my districts, some of them have blanket, like just do first tier, keep it simple. I have one district that has a very, like a literal 1-page formula to calculate 1 month, and it's very complicated, that particular one, but most of them are just the tier. For this district, to my knowledge, it's just been bringing it down to tier 1 if any adjustment is done. Of course, it's case by case basis. It's not just a blanket.
But have we done adjustments in the past for?
Well, this one just happens to be a sprinkler system. We just just so you know specifically what it was. If they had a running toilet, it'd be the same sort of math.
Yes, but what I was saying, whether it's toilet or sprinkler system or pool, this is the first time in Right, that I've read, that we voted on adjustment. I'm just wondering if that's what we want to do, if it's on their system.
Very common for districts. Leak has been found very different than their historical usage. Obviously, there. But
And so, I
that
mean-
doesn't mean that's what you guys have to do. I'm just saying that is very common for all of my districts that operate a water.
That's all we're doing here on this sheet is just that.
That is
Correct.
what
Yeah,
Robert
so there's
calculated.
3 different pages for 3 different residents. You know, so the first page is the most complicated because it's 3 months. The second one here is just July only. That's a little bit a simpler version of chart I've created. And then the third one is 2 months, July and August.
They're not getting free water or anything, you're just adjusting back to tier 1.
Correct. So they're paying for all their water just at the tier 1 rate structure as opposed to going into tier 2 and then final tier.
And just as a reminder, y'all did have that.
Yes. Oh, actually, I did want to share. I do have here it is, printed out so I could use his words that he sent a couple of emails to me just talking about his experience here. So I want to share it with the board if y'all like that. So he said, the first one said, "I'm very pleased at how pleasant everyone was today." He sent it the day of the meeting that afternoon. Says, "I couldn't have asked for a better hearing. I know they will do their best, and I really appreciate being in front of people like myself who are willing to listen. Please let the board know I appreciate it very much. A superior group of people." And then later on, he sent another email. He said, "Well, blow me down. A man came by from the Mud District. He was extremely and very much appreciated, or he's extremely nice and very much appreciated as I need it. There's an extremely nice people and wonderful board to be looking over our area. Thank you to all of them."
Thank you.
Blow me down. I don't know if I've heard
that.
Yeah.
Popeye was.
Popeye's
Yeah.
exactly what that is.
Okay.
That's exactly what.
That's really cute.
That's why I read it. I wouldn't be able to paraphrase that well.
That's nice.
Thanks for your nice thing.
So for this particular, these 3 though, we'll wait until next month. We'll get the historical so we can have the whole picture.
Okay, perfect.
And maybe we could consider thinking about a standard policy, maybe last month at tier 1, last month before the fix
Set
at tier
multiple
1
months,
rates or something, just something that just.
Yeah, I mean, and y'all could set
So
it up to where it's like,
consistent and doesn't have to y'all.
Yeah.
You can definitely, Robert, do you want to bring something next month based off of what you do for your district?
sure,
The
yeah.
board can-
Happy to do that. You know, some of them just say, hey, you know, automatically do it unless it's like over a certain dollar amount where it's like, all right, it's going to be an over $100 difference in the adjustment. You know, we want to talk about it. Of course, all the requirements for leak adjustments, they do have to show proof of repair. Like, you know, here's our issue. Here's showing our receipt showing that we repaired it. We do ask for pictures if they do have that. Some people do.
I think it's a good idea. Just let's try to get a policy in place for the basic one.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Okay, so going back to the original report, executive summary, just to finish out that. Compliance side, all of our back T monthly samples came back compliant, no concerns. Water supplied through our 216 interconnect at $2,519,000. Metered and billed for 345 at 36,957,000. Metered and billed for 346, 6,184,000. Our accountability is lower this month at 82.21%, and so there is a reason for it. The next line under you see our well GPM that the meter's still stuck, waiting on the City of Houston Public Works. So I've been following up with them. I haven't gotten any updates, but basically, you know, we use that number in our calculation to determine accountability, and so we're having to do our best mathematical estimate on that, looking at historic, looking on you know, previous years, earlier in the year, things like that, to try to do our math as close as we can. So we don't want to, you know, playing it on the safer side of the number. So it is, you know, significantly lower. You know, same thing would apply to 346 as well. So it's not going to be your rate as far as percentage-wise on a month-to-month basis. It might be a little lower until we get that well in and updated from Public Works. So that's just, it messes with our math equation. That's why it is lower.
You went through the samples pretty quick, just said you did them, but just because.
Oh, those are the back tees. That's separate from our the arsenic third-party testing.
Yeah, have you talked about the arsenic yet?
Not yet. That'll be number
Okay.
10. I was going to save it for that. So anyway, so accountability, that's not going to be a common number. That's just as of right now because of the well meter being stuck. So I've followed up a few different times, voicemails, emails, haven't gotten an update. Last update that I had was supposed to be in August that they were getting the next batch of meters in, but we're kind of at the mercy of them getting that in and replacing it. So I'll keep following up as much as I can. If I get, once I get a better answer, any answer, I'll definitely update. Yeah, so and it's going to be at their cost to replace it, to buy the meter, replace everything like that.
Other districts have their own meter.
I, probably not. I would have to double check. None of my other districts have a second meter after it for themselves, but I can't speak for all the mud.
What
You don't
about
need to do
what about the Ecoline?
Oh, so that's your standard back T samples. All those are compliant. That's the first line under the compliance. The first bullet point. Sorry. All those are compliant. We take those monthly, so no concerns or anything of that.
But then the excursion. I mean, yes on that. Is that?
I'm sorry. I guess where are you looking at here? Oh, then you flip to the right page here. No, that can't be right because I looked at these and there wasn't any version listed. Let me double check on that. Because typically anytime we have an excursion, we do have a self-report that we do to TCQ. I get a copy of that to view, saying, what was the reason, what they did fix it, everything like that. I did not receive any of that for this district. I do have another district I did, so potentially might have gotten mixed up.
Okay, could you check on that?
Yes, sir.
You want to shoot that to me?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll send out and get that information here this afternoon.
Thank you.
So appreciate you catching that. All right. So we'll go back to operations here. Just our work orders of note for the water side. We have our monthly flushing that we do every month. We have changed out 12 meters over the 1 million gallon threshold. We had 4 leaks that we repaired in the district, 3 levels and sods. We did repair or replace a broken fire hydrant off of Allview. You might have seen it being black bagged for a while until it got fixed, since that was brought from a previous fire hydrant survey and just getting the equipment in now, parts into. That's been repaired, up and running. And then a concrete cut invoice from a previous main break that Texas Hot Taps typically a few months behind getting their invoice to us. That's hitting on this month, but it was from a break from 3 months. Sanitary side, just have our monthly lab work, our annual infrared survey of the electronics out there. Sanitary sewer collection. We had a scum trough line that was getting backed up, so we had our truck go out there, jet the line to clear it out. No builder services inspection to speak of. Customer care here at the bottom. Letters that went out on the 9th, 36 of those, 8 tags on the 23rd, and we did have 1 disconnect last month on the 30th. And so for this month, no accounts for consideration for write-off and none for collections.
Remember, what date do the water bills normally go out?
So the letters, tags, bills.
Just your regular bill.
Yeah, I don't know the exact date. I know it does fluctuate a little bit month to month just because billing cycles.
Right.
So I can check with my billing department for any particular month, or if you just kind of wanted a range, I can get that.
Well, and part of that has to do with the request adjustment.
Oh, okay. So you want to know like the billing period for that month was this date to this date sort of thing?
Did they get it month or they get the beginning?
Yeah. Yeah, because all of the so like their usage for August, they would get their August bills the next month. So we're always 30 days in arrears.
Yes.
I believe we have, the billing cycle for the most recent. I have it written on here, maybe not. Anyways, I'll get that information. Oh, here, sorry. If you turn to the accountability page, it has the 3 charts here that you can see. For August, the billing cycle was August 1st through August 29th. And then you can see all the previous ones.
Yeah.
As far
The
as
bills go out the first of the next month.
right. Anyways, in regards to the report, I'll get that leak policy put together, look at the historical for those 3 as far as year over year. And that's all I have for our standard report. And then I have the details in here in the report for the arsenic for the next agenda. So on the basic report, is there any questions? No, I guess you want to go ahead and move to 10, or do you want to approve the report before we do that, or?
Well, there's no action items. We're just going to do bill requests. One thing I wanted to talk to y'all about is the drought contingency plan.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, this isn't on the agenda, but we had implemented it. Decision went out before y'all had to implement it. So y'all do have a copy, all board members have a copy of the district's drought contingency. So you all can see what triggered it. I will allow Jason and Robert to kind of go over the reason the district had to trigger stage 1. As a reminder, stage 1 is just Angela asked that. And Angela, the drought contingency plan, all districts are required to have drought contingency reviewed every 5 years. Fourth, when based off of the operator and the engineer, when districts have to implement it and based off of various stages. And then there is also kind of just some language for like additional consideration. The board's engineer and board basically thinks this one is well run time. So let you guys.
Sure.
You need a copy of the draft contingency plan, or you'll have it. Okay.
I have. So basically, it's a 3 stages that you can go in. First stage that we're currently in now is just going to be your voluntary restrictions. The target is trying to get about 10% water reduction throughout the district. What triggers that is that you have well run times for 18 hours a day for 3 consecutive days. So once you've hit that trigger point, that's when it goes into stage 1. The other stages are build upon the previous stages. So stage 2 is going to not be voluntary anymore. This is going to be mandatory requirements. And so instead of 18 hours for 3 consecutive days, it goes up to 20 hours, 3 consecutive days to trigger stage 2. And going from 10% usage reduction down to up to 20% usage reduction. And then stage 3 is going to be your emergency water shortage conditions. That's going to be 22 hours a day for 3 consecutive days. So 22 out of the 24 hours a day, the well is running, pumping water. And of course, for any of these, if you get all the way to stage 3, you want to go back down to stage 2. The termination requirement, if you're in stage 3 as an example, is if you have 3 consecutive days that are under 22 hours. So then you can reduce it down to stage 2. If it's under stage 2 requirements, 20 hours, it would go back to stage 1. If it's under 18 hours for 3 consecutive days, it'd go back to 0, normal usage. Of course, since we are in stage 1, you're kind of fluctuating in and out of the contingency sometimes, where it'll be 18 hours, 18, 19, 23, and then go down to 17, 17, 16, then 19 again. And so I looked at the numbers this morning, and we've had 3 consecutive days that brought us technically out of it, but it's still this crazy heat, very little rain. So we always advise just kind of keep it up until we know we're at the end point, so we're not bringing up signs, taking them down, bringing them up, taking them down, and creates a lot of confusion. It's like, are we in it? Are we not in it? When these signs are up, do I really need to follow it? Sort of thing. We have for Cinco Ranch, for example, our districts there, they put theirs up stage 1 June 1st every year, regardless of well times, the weather. That's just how they do it. That's just part of their reduction. So we are currently in stage 1, and so it's just sitting there. Like I said, we might fluctuate in and out of it based on that 18-hour, 3-day. But I would suggest keeping it in there right now since we are still in this heat wave and, you know, for the foreseeable weather future, there's no rain in the forecast. So that's kind of where we sit as far as the different stages and what it means to get into that stage and then back out. So it's not, you know, once you're in stage 3, you can't just go back to normal use. You have to tier back down. So it's just in an effort of
signs up now.
correct, correct. Yeah, so we got hit our 3-day point Monday the 13th. When I looked at it, then we had hit our point over the week. So we moved through the requirements. Of course, we notify TCEQ if that. We have to notify our operations team, our customer service, getting the signs out there to the correct stage at the entry and exit points of it.
So they're all deployed right now.
Right.
Where are they? I haven't seen any.
I haven't.
It should be at all the entry points into the district, your main traffic
Nope.
thoroughfares.
Mm-mm.
Out there. Okay.
You've seen it?
I think I've seen
I'll follow up just to make
Okay.
sure that they have it in
Yeah,
a very visible
Yes,
location.
please.
it, yeah.
I coming out, I always come out of Green
Tim.
in Kingsland area
Yeah.
that way, but I haven't noticed them.
Gotcha. Okay.
Along that route.
Yeah, because I know there's been times in the past, not with this district, but other
I'm not
districts,
saying
where they kind of put it in
not
a
saying
spot
they're
that's not really
there,
noticeable.
but I didn't, they didn't like jump
didn't
out
pop
at
out.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I haven't.
No problem. I'll find their
Are
location.
these signs tailored to the citizens of Harris County?
Right.
Stage 1 drought contingency.
Yeah, so they have your standard thing saying, you know, this mud, Harris County 345, and then there's a placard that gets removed on and off. So currently it would say stage 1. If we move into stage 2, that would be removed, and a new placard would go in saying stage 2. So it's the same physical sign. It's just the information would determine, you know,
Is there
update to the stages.
correct people know what
I
that
believe
means?
it's all these signs are different for each
No, I know
district.
that's why I'm asking because if
I'm pretty
because they like, how do we know? Like, you just get signed at this stage. Someone's gonna be like, well, I don't know that that's voluntary. That's not.
Right.
We've had some issues in other districts where it says stage 2 voluntary when it's mandatory, stage 3 voluntary when it's mandatory. So just
Yeah.
asking all.
I believe this one just has the phone number on it, not the website. I'll double check. I'll go out and find them and get, you know, take a picture of it.
Well, the phone number is fine. Residents can someone
Somewhere
someplace
to
to go to
contact.
if they have questions on.
Definitely. Yeah, so I'll double check into that, especially the locations, because Angela, you said you hadn't seen them, right?
Mm-mm.
So I'll make sure that they haven't tipped over. Sometimes we've had that too, or so they've blown over and things like that. So.
And Robert, if you just want to hand draw in your cell phone number.
I'll create a work order for that. So, but anyway, so we are, you know, officially in stage 1. All the proper, you know, TCQ and all our different departments have been notified of such. Kate's been notified, everything like that. So, well underway. You know, we are monitoring, so we have not hit any requirements. Stage 2. I think we've had 1 day that's gone to that requirement, but not nowhere close to 3 consecutive yet.
Good rain Saturday. So.
Mhm.
I think the forecast is going to be, it's going to be a little warm for at least the next week. Hopefully it'll start to dip down. I did have a question though. I saw you put the banner up.
Yes.
When you go to the website. So it's a big banner that says drought contingency stage 1. But what I wondered is there a way we can condense some of that wording and just say we are in stage 1, it's a voluntary, and then cut and paste the words out of our plan right there so people see what it means. Right now they got to click and dig and go all the way to the bottom of that. It's a lot of clicks and a lot of scrolls to get to what stage 1 really means. So can we just say we're stage 1 voluntary?
And then have the
description of what that means right in the banner, cut and paste it off of our plan, and then click here for more information about the drought contingency plan. Then they can go secondarily to the whole document. They want to look at, you know, all of the.
Yeah, because the click here has the full document listed in there. So that way they can review any of the stages, all the.
Yeah, I was just that purple banner. Just say we're in the drought plan and this is what it is.
Definitely. If any concerns with that, I can definitely get that. Not a problem.
Thank you.
May take a couple of days for it to get updated because we have one person that does it for all of our sites, but I'll let her know. Thank you.
Here's report.
No.
Okay, all right. Agenda item 10, the status of testing additional water supply for our.
Okay, so I do have the results here in the report. So if you turn past the cover page executive summary, you'll see East Text here on page 3, and then the next 2 pages are the AB labs. So East Text just combines their 2 polls in one page, so it's a little easier to see. So you'll see we have our GST1 for the first sample, the second samples off of Fairgate Drive. And if you look at the results, we have the 6.76 for GST1, 7.47 for the Fairgate Drive. And of course, both these labs and the TCEQ lab all pulled on the same day. And then if you turn back to the AB, like I said, across 2 pages here. First page is the GST1 as well, 6.97. And then the next page, the Fairgate, that's 6.9. So covering basically in and around, 6.75 to 7.5 across the 4 tests. So of course we haven't received TCEQs. They usually take, they take longer to get that to us. Of course, I'll bring that once I have it. So, and of course that's, these numbers are out of the 10 as far as the range that we're looking in, 10 being the max here. So we're consistent as far as the different labs and their samples.
It's good to see the consistency. That was one of our questions. So that's good to see.
It's consistent.
What's that?
Fairgates.
Oh, I mean, like comparing,
Relatively, they're not wildly
quarters
different.
and,
Yeah, they're not wildly different.
Yeah.
They're with, a half of the 0.712. Yeah.
under our requirements, which is exactly what we want to see.
Yes.
Thank you.
You bet.
Report any on agenda. All right, agenda item 11 is the Green Trails monthly report. We do have the August report for you all. No action. With respect to doesn't look like there's too much activity in the district, which is good. There were a lot of vacation watches and neighborhood checks. Large part, which is correct. Any questions? Agenda item 12, communication with district residents, mass communication. Aaron, I don't know if you want
I can give a quick
cover
update.
this.
Yep. So since I think at the last meeting, the board asked us to move forward and review all the kind of standard messages and to begin to work with classic message and including the test message and get classic messaging to get moving on the test messaging process. So Kate and Robert and I have gone through all of the messages, about 5 or 6 messages. There's one for the test message, plus there's one for a storm warning, boil water notice, water out in your area. There's about 5. So we reviewed all of those, have standard messages all put together for all of that. So should we need to use them? They've already been through a bunch of reviews, just another quick review, maybe a tweak, and we can get it out the door really quickly. All that's been sent to classic messaging. Dominic is he's going to get back in touch with us tomorrow. He's reviewing the messages himself to make sure there's no adjustments he needs to make from format. And within the next week or 2, he should be sending out the test message. And the way that we wrote the test message, I'm going to be surprised if we don't get a very big uptick in opt-in. We're sending them right to the website, right to where they can go to kind of get updated. So, and I've also asked Dominic to take a snapshot before of the opt-in and then one after, so we can see how well it worked or it didn't work or whatnot. So by the next board meeting, we should have implemented the test and should have some results. That's good. Do you have anything you want to add?
No,
to that?
covered everything.
Thank you.
So, well, I guess one thing I'll say that they're always adjustable. So if there's any tweaks, changes we want to do later on, we can always do that.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of our base
Kind of got,
version now.
yeah, all the base reviews have been done, so it should make it pretty streamlined.
Robert, do you have any pages?
Yes.
Design are gonna be updated?
So the target for it's going to be in November as far as the new format. It's going to be the same web link as far as clicking it, and so if you have it saved in your favorites, it'll still be there. So it's going to be a new, more streamlined format, and so it's going to make it the same as all the districts we service. It's going to be the same format, so it's not this district has this kind of format, this one has the other. So it's just easier to work in between, and then for our staff that manages all these sites for all of our districts, it's easier for them to update. Because previous month, Angela had caught where there was a link to an older version of the website that got removed. So things like that were small errors that get passed over. With this new streamlined version, will keep that from happening. So as far as it's not in the final version, but it is coming very close to it, and so our customizations might be a little more limited than we see currently. But as far as the final, what we can, what we can't do, I can't say for 100% certainty what that'll look like until it's implemented, because I think they are still making those changes between now and then.
I think the main thing, and we talked about this last time, is to understand what are the key differences. Mainly, if there's any information that's on there now that won't be able to be on there for whatever reason in the future, I think we need to understand that before it's implemented.
Mm-hmm.
So our customers don't go there and get frustrated, like, now I can't access information previously. So every district's got to have that same question.
Mm-hmm.
And you could make sure that that's factored into the rollout process, so we have the opportunity to know what that is and respond to it before you bring it live.
Right. So that way, if it takes, just as an example, if it takes out it wouldn't, but if or whatever didn't have the drought contingency information on there, if it took it out, like making sure that's in there at the launch is what you're saying, right?
Right. If stuff is getting taken out, I think as Inframark's customer, if we were Inframark's customer, I think it'd be appropriate for us to understand that and have some input into that process before we get too far along, so we kind of can work together on it, as opposed to, oh, here's your new website, and then all of a sudden it's creating a bunch of problems we need to go respond to, as opposed to collaborate on going forward. And I'm sure every district has would have the same exact position.
Yeah.
Wait, let me jump in a little bit. Y'all are the only district that asks for specifics to be on an operator website that it. So my guess, when Robert corrected me wrong, when you say the Inframark is coming to reformat it, I don't think information that is normally there is being taken off. The link to the tax collector's website that y'all recently added, that add-on stuff, probably what. Robert, is that where you were originally going with
Yes,
this?
you're
or is it just completely reformatting and half the stuff that's there is going to be?
No, your basic information, as far as the district information, how to pay your bill, rate system, route thing. Just your standard, every district has this information, will be there. It's going to be more of that customization that's making this website different from this district's website and that one, where I think it's kind of the problem they've fallen into now, where they have so many. There's I think 200 plus that they're dealing with.
Sounds like we're not the only district.
No,
Sounds like
sounds
the
like
reason
you're
they're
not,
doing
yeah.
this is because there's a lot of customization and difficult to maintain, and I get all that. But still, I think it's appropriate to have to come back and say, this is what's going to change for 3, 4, 5. Reformatting, I'm not so worried about, but when you're taking information away that our customers are used to going to look for, that could be a problem. And so
So
I
I
think
guess,
it'd be appropriate for us to understand what that is and maybe have a conversation or a dialogue, or, you know, give us time.
yeah, so if it like displays 20 items and now with the new format, it's gonna be 17 items. Like, all right, what are those three
What are
items
those
that aren't there?
three,
That sort of
and are
thing.
those three critical? Is it a link to Wheeler, which is pretty important because that's where they go to get the minutes and everything else. Now all of a sudden we're going backwards instead of going forward in terms of this information, and we'll need to respond to that. We may need to send out a communication. People that say you used to go here, now you go here, whatever, right? Just being proactive.
So I mean, the web link will stay the same. It's just more of a facelift to it.
I'm just interested in what's going on.
Right. I mean, like I said, I can't speak 100% since it's not fully like, here's our final product. It's going to roll out this date. It's more like it's still work in progress with the date of November being the target date.
Somebody in your IT department knows.
Yeah.
So it's part of a normal rollout process. Somebody's responsibility to do current as is and to be and reconcile. You know, it's somebody's responsibility to do that. So we see to connect them into our board, so we just understand what that is. So we're saying it can happen anytime you roll out a new system. People aren't prepared, and it affects business, right? And so that's just what we're trying to.
Okay, no problem. I'll definitely, keep in communication with them to get any updates I can, anything that's for certain I can say, hey, this is certainly going to be this way or not that way, or whatever the case may be. Bring it to you.
Because November 1st is coming quick.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be in November, not necessarily the 1st. Might be, a weekend or something. I don't know for sure, but
it
November.
Could be only one more board meeting before it happens.
Correct.
Based on what you're saying. So.
Yeah. I mean, of course, always the option to have a board-specific website, but of course that's completely y'all's decision on that front. But
and that's not going to be implemented in 30 days.
Right.
If we decide to do that, we have talked about that. But
I would think not. I mean, that's not my area of expertise as far as that goes. I couldn't speak to it.
Yeah.
You bet.
Anything else about communication with district residents? Okay. Agenda item 13, the status of the installation of the hike and bike underpass at on Fry Road by Willow Fork Drainage District. I do not have for you all. Y'all heard anything about it? Agenda item 14, the attorney's report. Have anything additional involved? Agenda item 15, potential litigation involving the district. I do not have an update for you all. Hopefully next week we will be able to go into session and I can give you good news. But I don't have any. So no need to go into closed session for 16 and 17. Agenda item 18, future agenda items. Board or consult anything else?
I know we've talked about before the website. We've got a report on that. Does the board want me to talk to Classic Messaging and try to get a better handle on what website services that we are currently paying for some sort of website capability potentially if we want it. I don't know anything about it. I just know there's something there. Does the board want me to dig into that a little bit further and kind of bring that back so we kind of understand what that is that we have potentially that we could use? I know there's a lot of questions with Classic Messaging.
Yeah,
so
I understand that they would be the people I would use.
I'm not committing to it. I'm just saying, I think it would be appropriate for us to at least understand what that is
I agree.
before we move forward with anything else.
But to David's point, they'd have to do some really convincing to allow us to let it go on. Okay. But yeah, we ought to see what.
I think it would just probably need to at least understand that before.
I thought we'd taken a vote last year not to have a web product. What's your recommendation?
I didn't recommend one way or other. It's just if you did, there's just a lot more work that goes into it. A lot of legal. It's better to
legality.
Y'all want, I can send a memo again, the one that was presented with all of the legal requirements. If you
Look at that, if we're gonna do it, we should look at that again.
Yeah.
I mean, cause it's kind of hung out there.
Yeah, I think we just need to, let's just really understand if we want to do it or not. We're kind of, understanding that document would be well.
Senator boards.
that I represent, or
Yeah.
I mean,
They have any issues? There's any pros or cons?
it depends on who you use,
Sure.
because a lot of the website providers will actually handle clients and
yeah.
ask the firm every couple months, hey, just
Yeah.
check this information. Some boards don't necessarily website provider, and they want page to do it, so they know that more if the website provider did it. So I haven't heard of
The ones that take care of it, turnkey it and do everything. Most of your boards use them, have a website, or they
messaging or
No. one that has a turnkey.
yes, yeah,
They're using that.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, only one board doesn't, and I wish they did.
Yeah.
Can you remove them?
Do these website providers, are they specialized?
A couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, so they're actually.
They're very, very
They're very
familiar
yeah,
with
mudboard.
what is required. They pay attention with legislative stations and what laws are being introduced, bills are being introduced. To date. Yeah, they're very familiar with it.
It's a good one. Nothing frustrates people worse than a bad one.
Yeah. Yes. No. Did y'all want to add that to the agenda, just with communication? That way we could talk about it, or just hold it off until
I think
after
just
the-
kind of getting it back out on the table
Yeah.
so we understand exactly what we're dealing with.
They have any brochure or anything that the board to look at? Do they have any?
There are a couple that probably do.
Well, the one you're talking about, they have any sales brochure they could let us look at or something?
Might be on their website.
Well, what I could do is I could email y'all websites for some of the providers
Okay.
for some of our districts that have it, just the links, so
Sure.
you can see if
Okay.
you like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take a look over that and see what I think.
Email them just to you. Okay. Anything else for future agendas? All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Look at that.
Three motions.
Three motions. I'll take one of yours as a second. And I think you're all in favor.
Thank everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.